I am at the world famous Tower Bridge in London, England. This is one of the most iconic bridges in the world and a masterpiece of Victorian architecture and engineering. I am not only going to cross the bridge and take in the views, but I'm also going to climb up the towers to go across the walkways and also visit the former engine room of the bridge. This suspension bridge on the east side of London was built between 1886 and 1894. It's not the oldest surviving bridge in London. The Westminster Bridge is a bit older. The original architect of the bridge was Sir Horace Jones, and he worked with the engineer Sir John Wolfe Barry. At the time, this was the largest and most complex suspension or bascule bridge ever built. A bascule bridge is movable, so the center of the bridge does lift for large ships to pass through, and back then that was a pretty big deal. The architect Horace Jones died in 1887, just a year into the construction, so George Stephenson took his place, and he's the one who decided on the Victorian Gothic style, which was an excellent choice. It makes this bridge very distinctive. The colors on this steel are great. It's only been this blue, white, and red since the 70s. It used to be just brown. This bridge spans 800 feet across the River Thames. That's 240 meters. And the towers are 213 feet tall each. There are some incredible views of the city from this bridge, and we're going to get these views from a lot higher in the walkways as part of the Tower Bridge exhibition. Alright, I am now climbing one of the towers. There is an elevator in this north tower as well. When the two piers were built on the bridge's foundations, which were sunk to the bottom of the river, submarine engineers had to go under the water, and they would use these classic diver helmets. This was the bridge's office. The architects and engineers would regularly meet in here. There are 206 steps to make it to the top of the North Tower. Here's a display on Victorian London, complete with a penny farthing bike. I've made it up to the first aerial walkway across the Tower Bridge. Wow, the views from up here are spectacular. There's the Tower Hotel and St. Catherine's Docks. There's a cluster of skyscrapers pretty far east. There isn't too much of interest to the east. The center of the city is to the west. That's the other walkway. We'll go into that one too. One relatively new addition are these glass floors in the walkway, so visitors can stand on glass nearly 200 feet above the Tower Bridge traffic below. It's slightly unnerving. This was a potential design for the Tower Bridge submitted in the contest. It's very boring compared to what we got. About 14 million rivets are holding the metal parts of the Tower Bridge together. These walkways were created for the public so they could climb up the towers and cross the bridge when the bascules were open. But it turned out people didn't really use them. They were open to the elements back then. I guess a lot of the glass wasn't installed yet. And there were actually lots of prostitutes and pickpockets who lurked in these. So they were closed off in 1910. They finally reopened them to paying visitors in 1984. It was also in this walkway that Spider-Man fought and murdered Mysterio in Far From Home. Now in the South Tower, the exposed steel frame of the bridge is visible. There are some ghosts of the workers laboring away up there. Alright, this is the other walkway, which has the views toward the west. That is the view towards central London. There's a lot of important landmarks visible on this side. Perhaps the most obvious is the Shard, which is a fairly new skyscraper. It was completed just 10 years ago in 2012. It is the tallest building in London and the entire UK at 1,016 feet. That's the HMS Belfast, a World War II battleship that was part of Operation Overlord on D-Day, and there's a massive cruise ship dock next to it. That weird leaning building is the London City Hall at Southwark. There's another glass floor in this one. There's the North Bank and the City of London, the true center of the historic city. There appears to be a lot of new skyscrapers being built there. There's Sir Christopher Wren's monument to the Great Fire of London, and the magnificent dome of St. Paul's Cathedral. And of course the Tower of London sits along the Thames. These walkways are really awesome. The views are very much worth it. Now I'm descending the South Tower. Here's another diver helmet. Alright, I've made it through the Tower Bridge. But there's more, as I also have access to the historic engine rooms as part of the ticket. Gotta follow the blue line to the engine rooms. The engine rooms are located below the bridge. The engine rooms of the Tower Bridge preserve the original steam-powered mechanisms that would raise and lower the bridge. These are the boilers. This is where the whole process of raising the bascule started. These boilers would use up about 20 tons of coal a week. Here's a diagram to show how all this worked. Water at high pressure was pumped into the accumulators by the two massive steam engines. And that would then raise the bascules. This is one of the two steam pump engines, and this one is actually functioning. Just for show though. That's pretty awesome. More than 80 people worked here in order to raise the bridge, and they used to do that about 30 times a day. Nowadays it's usually only raised a couple times daily. These massive Victorian era steam engines are fascinating. This one is just beautiful. The steam engine here is driving a force pump from its piston tail rod. Here's another one of the two steam engines needed to lift the bridge, though this one sits stationary. The bridge was a pretty big target during the Blitz, so this engine room was struck by a bomb, and the bridge bascules were out of service for a while during the war, which I imagine caused some problems. The steam pump engine is connected to the hydraulic pump. It converts the mechanical power produced by the engine into hydraulic power. These steam engines were in use to raise and lower the bridge until 1974, when they were replaced by an oil-powered electro-hydraulic system, which is still in use today. There's a bit more to the Tower Bridge exhibition. Some important individuals related to the bridge are highlighted, like longtime bridge master John Gass. These quotes are about how these rooms smelled. It says it had a very strong smell of burnt coal, and the smell of oil was quite sweet. These are the accumulators. They weigh 100 tons each. These stored the hot water and steam in high pressure, so it could be released to raise and lower the bascules. The engine rooms are fascinating. I love the Victorian steam machinery they have in here, so I'd highly recommend this. Now on the south bank, let's see the views from this side. That's the tower across the river. Here's a plaque marking the Jubilee Greenway. Again, this leaning blob is the London City Hall, Or it used to be. I guess it isn't anymore as of 2021. Back on the other side of the bridge, there are some more incredible architectural details. Here's the Tower of London's ramparts right next to the bridge. The bascules are lowering. That's cool. There are some little glass capsule diners right along the banks of the river, across from the Tower of London, which is right next to the bridge. Here are some more commemoration plaques on the bridge. On this visit, I had the amazing opportunity to stay at the Tower Hotel right next to the bridge. And this was the view from my hotel room window overlooking the bridge. Though one of the towers isn't visible, but that's totally fine by me. This old sailboat is going to be passing through. They're going to raise the bascules. Now I'm going to walk across the Tower Bridge at dusk. So I hope you enjoyed this Tower Bridge experience. The bridge is an absolutely incredible landmark and a must-see in London. I did visit some other spots while here in London, like the nearby Tower of London, so if you're interested, take a look at those videos. I also have hundreds of videos on other historic landmarks, museums, roadside attractions, and more here in Europe and in America. Also, please make sure to like this video, share it, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.